So, Martin Luther, A Late Medieval Life by Volker Leppen. Now, I was not given the full text. In the copy that I was given, it's like, this is not the full text, delete after 60 days and all that. So, after I post this, I don't know how much longer this video is going to be on YouTube, but for the moment, here we go. So, I was given about 100 pages of this text. It almost has that textbook feel, like I was in like Dr. Sager's class or something, or like Professor Mackenzie's class, because it has that almost textbook feel, but it isn't a full-on textbook that maybe some people are used to. Like, for me, it's one of those books you would just find, say, at Chapters or Barnes & Nobles or any kind of bookstore in their history section, because I don't think they would put this book in like their Christian section. It's more of, it follows the same, for me, it follows the same outline of the history books and history textbooks that I have read through university. Here's the starting point, and here's almost like in this year, this kind of happened, explanations. Oh, and then this happened in this time, and then all the way to his death and a little after. So, there is that. It seems more of a made for the public kind of book rather than here university students studying medieval history or medievalism, because there are programs in university just that are medieval, that have a medieval program. Laurier is one of them. Wilfrid Laurier University. Some of the professors there do history and medieval studies, and they're pretty awesome professors. So, back to the book. So, to me, he's quick to the point, doesn't over-explain, though when this book is ready for the public, he could add in more facts to what has been presented in the chapters of the book. It's not too in-depth, but he does explain the points, he does explain the quotations and the references that he does put in to the book. The book is translated, is a translated work from this author, so it was translated into English, so there is that as well. So if you are somebody who has an interest in medieval studies, you may not have heard of this author, so, but you likely have heard of Martin Luther, so there is that for people who studied like the Reformation, early modern Europe, like the late Middle Ages. Don't call it the Dark Ages, or you'll like get pounded. Seriously, don't say that in front of medieval study students, because you'll get like evil-eyed. I knew some of the students, and I have a lot of respect for them. But anyway, so he goes into what Martin was influenced by, the people and texts, and how he's like, screw this, of like the way that the church was going, the way that the the bulls the Pope had issued, because it's a whole, like, you gotta be really ballsy to say screw you, Pope. I'm not like, I'm just assuming I'm not a person, like, I'm not a person in the Christian faith, but I'm assuming it's really ballsy to do that at any point. So, the world around him, what made him write the things he did, and what made him go from law to joining a monastery and then being a leader in the Reformation. So, there, and what led to the 95 Thesis. So, he goes into, like, what happened surrounding, like, the 95 Thesis, and he examines a few of the points from that thesis. So, like a lot of people from that time period, not much is known about his life. From, like, childhood to when he started, like, going, like, to school and stuff, and becoming a monk and stuff. So his early years, like a lot of people, isn't really touched upon because, again, not much has survived from the Middle Ages and even into the period of early modern Europe where the Reformation and Renaissance has happened. So, again, there's, like, the outside influences of his work and life, and the author Volker Leppen pretty much drops pretty much every work Luther had written or other texts or people that he has read or met or influenced in his life. And so with these, you get an idea of who and what made Martin Luther of that. So, yeah. And, again, the analysis isn't fully in depth. So, for a person who grabs it off, say, at Chapters or Indigo Shelf, can go through it and will go like, huh? Unlike somebody who spent a number of years looking through many different primary and secondary sources of medieval literature. So, from what I was given, it was a very interesting read and very interesting look into a figure in history. So, yeah. So, happy readings.